Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel. One of the common questions is about the relationship between Iran and Syria and how it will be developed in the future. What is Iran doing in Syria and why have many Iranian military advisors been in Syria over the past 10 years? In this video we want to talk about the history of Iran and Syria relations, which goes back even before the Iranian Revolution.
Ground forces are not engaged. This conflict started August 2nd.
During the Pahlavi era, relations between Iran and Syria were far from friendly. The two countries had a lot of disagreements, mainly because the Pahlavi government was seen as a supporter of Israel. At the same time, Syria, having lost the Golan Heights to Israel in the 1967 Arab-Israeli War, viewed Israel as its top enemy. Naturally, this created tensions between Iran and Syria. These tensions reached their peak in the late 1970s during the Iranian Revolution. At that time, Syria's president Hafez al-Assad, who had taken power through a coup in 1971, was supporting revolutionary forces in Iran. This support strained relations even further. However, after the Islamic Revolution succeeded, things took a dramatic turn. Hafez al-Assad quickly recognized the new government in Iran and began a fresh chapter in Syrian-Iranian relations. In fact, during the Iran-Iraq War, Syria was the only Arab country that supported Iran. Assad's government provided Iran with significant military assistance, which came as a shock to the Arab world. Most people believed Syria, being led by a Ba'athist government like Iraq, would naturally side with Iraq, but that didn't happen. Not only did Syria back Iran during the war, but they also cut off Iraq's oil export pipelines to the Mediterranean, dealing a serious blow to Iraq's economy. The main reason behind this unusual alliance was the long-standing rivalry between the Syrian and Iraqi branches of the Ba'ath Party. Saddam Hussein once said in an interview that Hafez al-Assad supported Iran during the war because he believed it was impossible to fight Israel without Iran, since one of the Syria's main goals at the time was to convert Israel and reclaim the Golan Heights. Supporting Iran was very important to them.
نعم الرئيس حافظ أسد كان يقول بي إنه إحنا نقف مع إيران للأسباب التالية. نقف مع إيران لأن العراق اعتدى على إيران. واحد. ونقف مع إيران لأن الحرب لا تنتهي، باعتبار أن النظرية الدينية في إيران تقول أن الولاية للفقيه بصورة نهائية، فإذا لا يمكن أن تنتهي الحرب. فشنو الحل؟ الحل هو أنه يستقيل صدام حسين، وإن لم يستقيل فلازم الجيوش الإيرانية تجتاح العراق وبالتالي تسقط نظام الحكم. وهذا ما صدر في بيان رسمي، مرة في دمشق ومرة في طهران. والعامل الثالث شنو اللي قالها؟ العامل الثالث قال انه احنا مقتنعين انه فلسطين لا تتحرر الا بمساعدة ايران. عندما تقدمت الجيوش الإسرائيلية لاحتلال لبنان عام 82 صار محاولة من الجيوش الإيرانية لأن تجتاح الأراضي العراقية اللي تحتل البصرة. بس قبلها أعلن الإيرانيون أنهم مستعدون لإرسال جيش لمواجهة جيش إسرائيل والدفاع عن لبنان لولا الحرب ولولا أن العراق لا يقبل بهذا.
Despite Syria's growing ties with Iran, Hafez al-Assad managed to maintain relations with other Arab countries, including Saudi Arabia. Many Arab states, especially Saudi Arabia, weren't thrilled about Syria's relation with Iran. Assad skillfully balanced these relations, keeping both sides, Iran and the Arab nations, relatively satisfied. The situation became more complicated as Iran and Syria grew closer for many reasons. Things started to change when tensions arose between Syria and Saudi Arabia. One key moment was Syria's involvement in Lebanon. In 2005, Syria was accused of orchestrating the assassination of Rafik Harifi, Lebanon's prime minister, who was closely allied with Saudi Arabia. The Saudis blamed Bashar al-Assad's government for killing, claiming it was an attempt to reduce Saudi influence in Lebanon. Although Syria later withdrew its military from Lebanon and tried to deny involvement, the accusations persist. Then in 2006, Israel launched a war on Lebanon, aiming to weaken Hezbollah. Syria, however, supported Hezbollah with weapons and aid for Lebanese refugees. Since Hezbollah is a close ally of Iran, their resistance against Israel not only strengthened their position, but also deepened Syria's alignment with Iran. This support for Hezbollah, along with growing tensions with other Arab nations, gradually pushed Syria even closer to Iran. As Syria's relations with Arab states continued to deteriorate, its reliance on Iran increased. Fast forwarding to the Arab Spring, or what's also called the Islamic Awakening, in early 2010s. As regimes in Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, and Yemen failed, regional and global powers jumped into the fray, trying to expand their influence. Saudi Arabia, for instance, worked to protect Yemen's government under Mansour Hadi, while also aiming to topple Bashar al-Assad in Syria. However, the events in Syria were different from other Arab uprisings. While uprisings in other countries either succeed or ongoing, something else happened in Syria that turned it into a crisis. When protests erupted in Syria, countries like Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Qatar quickly severed diplomatic ties with the Assad government. Syria was even temporarily expelled from the Arab League. In Iran, there were mixed views about what to do. Some officials believed supporting the Syrian opposition might prevent future conflicts with Syria after Assad and his Ba'ath Party were gone. When extremist groups in Syria started gaining weapons and the lives of the Shia Muslims and other minorities were at risk, Iran entered Syria at the request of its government. Iranian military advisors and allied groups became involved in the Syrian conflict. Why did Iran intervene in Syria? Fighting terrorism. One of Iran's main reasons for entering the Syrian conflict was to counter the rise of terrorist and extremist groups. These groups, like ISIS, not only took control of large parts of Syria and Iraq, but also carried out terror attacks in other countries, including Iran. ISIS even launched an attack on Iranian parliament, making it clear that they saw Iran as a target. Given how close these groups were to Iran's borders, they posed a serious security threat that Tehran couldn't ignore. Protecting holy sites. Extremist groups, particularly Salafist militants, had threatened to destroy Shiite holy sites in cities like Damascus, Karbala, and Samarra. These groups had already carried out bombing near such sites, which alarmed Iran to act. Israel's rule. Israel played a significant part in the Syrian crisis. For decades, Syria's military had been a threat to Israel, especially after losing the Golan Heights in 1967. Hafez al-Assad had even ordered the development of chemical weapons to counter Israel's nuclear arsenal. With the Syrian conflict weakening Assad's army, Israel saw an opportunity to eliminate this threat and disrupt the link between Iran and its regional allies, like Hezbollah. This made it even more crucial for Iran to intervene and maintain its strategic positions. By stepping into Syria, Iran, with Russia's help, managed to counter these threats. Iranian forces also strengthened resistance groups in the region. Since the start of the Syrian crisis in 2011, Iran became Assad's strongest ally, playing a vital role in keeping his government afloat. Though Syria faced immense challenges, like economic sanctions, Western and Arab support for armed groups in the north, and a prolonged war, Assad's government eventually fell. Despite this, Iran successfully neutralized many of the security threats that initially drove its involvement in Syria. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and share it with your friends. And if you have any questions, please tell us in the comments, and we're going to see you again soon.